once again.
Welcome back to another cheapo multimeter review. In the spotlight today, it is the EXTECH MN15A for your cheapo meter pleasure. Let's take a look. First off, let me say Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2020, the start of the new decade, and this is going to be a great year for multimeters and multimeter reviews. This EXTECH shipped via Amazon for a whopping $34 Canadian. In the cheapo realm. Let's see if it's any good. The EXTECH ships in this bubble wrap style enclosure. Not a box per se, but basically it gives you all the goods on the meter function. 2000 count, non-auto ranging multimeter. So this is really bare bones. The EXTECH ships with your test leads. Interesting looking leads. They're fairly decent quality-wise, I'm gonna assume. Definitely not silicone, but they do feel okay. We've got that protective shroud. Whoa. Okay, it's in there really tight. I'll have to get some pliers to take that off, but nonetheless, we have a CE rating, 10 amps, Cat 2 1000 volts. Sorry, Cat 3 1000 volt, Cat 4 600. Take a look at the shrouds. Decent size. Yeah, it's in there nice and tight, not going anywhere. Good solid fit. EXTECH also ships this with a thermocouple. It's actually a K-type thermocouple with a adapter. Fits in just like that because yes, this little guy does do temperature. Cool. Finally, as well, you get that nice big user guide for the MN15A. This is one of the bigger ones you'll get with multimeters, I must say. Overall, very nice, very verbose, good graphics, pics, the whole 9 yards. Good stuff. This meter has that oh so common EXTECH Army Green. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Actually, I like it. I like these kind of colors. Contrasty, looks good to me. Now, one thing I don't like, and yeah, there's a few things I don't like about this meter, but let's start off with the build quality itself. This just feels really cheap. Very, very cheap plastic they've utilized for the body. Yeah, it just really is hard to feel any cheaper than that. This is not rubber either. This is also another molded plastic, but it's like the dollar store plastic. I mean, this thing just reeks of cheapness. So not a really great feeling when you spend 35, 40 bucks on a multimeter to get it and say, wow, this thing feels cheap. On the back, it does have that tilt stand. You pop it open. That being said, it is a little problematic. You really got to get in there, get that sucker out. It's one of those see-through variety. You know, unfortunately, the meter is so light that it's really hard to switch it without sort of, see what I'm doing here. I'm holding it with the rest of my hand. Yeah, just, yeah, you get the idea. Starting off at the 12 o'clock position, we have the off. Going clockwise, we're starting off with volts AC up to 600 volts, milliamps up to 200 milliamps, high current up to 10 amps, temperature mode in both Celsius and Fahrenheit, battery test mode 1.5 and 9 volts, continuity, resistance up to 20 mega ohm, volts DC up to 600 volts. If you like no frills, the MN15A definitely fits the bill. There are no extras, no backlight, no hold, no rail, nada. There's absolutely nothing else included with this meter. It's really Spartan. Spartan, I say. Now they're calling this a mini multimeter. That's right, mini is what they say, or what they claim. But if I put out the Richmeters 102 Pro, you can see it's actually bigger than the Richmeters. And let's put up a little anning we've got here. Now that is truly mini. So, yeah, EXTECH, I don't think so. Let's turn this guy on. Here we go. And you can see, yeah, fairly decent, bold, chunky font. But nonetheless, it's not bad. washes away a little bit depending on the angle, but truth be told, it is definitely more than adequate for the job. We're going to start things off with our voltage test. That's right, we got the voltage reference out. We should be looking at 250 millivolts. And survey says, whoa! That is like way off. Oh my goodness, that's probably the worst performance I've seen of any multimeter that I've reviewed thus far. Wow, like 9 counts? Really? Let's see if it's any better in volt mode. Gonna move it up to the 20 volt. Here we go. And survey says, oh, wow. Yeah, about 9-10 counts off again. We should be looking at 2.5 volts. That is very, very, that sucks. All right, in terms of accuracy thus far, it has been a fail. Let's try resistance mode. Now this only has a 20 mega ohm resistance range. Not very high to begin with, but let's see if it's any good at that. We're sitting at 1 mega ohm right now, and that looks to be okay. 9 mega ohm. Well, it is slow. Oh, wow, that is slow. You're a painful little meter. 8 mega ohm. Yeah, we're getting there. Granny was slow, but she was 99. Okay, let's try 5 mega ohm. Okay, back down to 1 mega ohm. So, I mean, accuracy-wise, it seems to be all right, but it is just painfully slow. Oh, God. Next. Next up is diode mode. Now, as my grandmother would say, Sonny, you must be a glutton for pleasure. Well, indeed I am a glutton for pleasure, Grandma, because I am still testing this little inaccurate beast. Starting off with the green LED. Here we go. It is lit, but no indicator. Let's try the yellow. Oh, you know what? It is barely lit. You can't see that, but it is barely lit. Oh, God. The red. Oh, wow. Yeah, barely lit once again. I mean, what's up with these probes? I'm just looking at them now, and it's like, ugh, really bendy here going on. Like, what? I'm not even putting pressure on this thing. Oh, keeps getting better, doesn't it? All right, the blue LED, nada. And the white LED, well, I don't think so. No, so it can barely light 3 out of the 5 LEDs, and we get exactly nothing in terms of forward voltage drop on any of them. Yeah. Do we have that forward voltage drop? Well, something works. Yes, we do. Okay. Yeah. In diode mode, the output voltage, 2.89 volts. Already Aphrodite, it is continuity time. Yes, continuity time in the Cheapo Nation. One of our favorite times of the day. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. You know what? It's not bad. It's not very loud. It's scratchy. But it does pick up almost instantaneously. Now, I happen to like scratchy. That's right. Call me a scratcher, but I do like my scratchy continuity. But, it's very low, and I think it could be better. Could be better. Let's try the ProMasters. Like a genie in a bottle, whoosh, here we go. ProMasters in our hot little hands. It's going to be any better? Wow. Definitely better. A little bit louder. And really not as scratchy. It's sounding more lash with the ProMasters. Hey, that is really, really good with these ProMasters. Awesome. You guys are great. Take a bow. Take a bow. Take a bow. Okay, get out of here. .3 dBA is the maximum output volume in continuity mode. Check here. 350 degrees Celsius is what we want to see, or something pretty close to it. So 350 is the benchmark. Start off with the EXTECH, and here we go. It's getting there, pretty close, 345. Yeah, lost it there. But yeah, it took a little while, but 345, about 5 degrees off, not a big deal. Let's try the same thing, shall we, with the uni-t. I want to see 350 degrees. And wow, look at the difference in terms of time. That was like sitting in milliamps now. A paltry 200 milliamps, really nothing to get uber excited about. Might come in handy for the electronics project though. So let's take a look, see if it's at least halfway accurate. Here we go, sitting at around 29, 30 milliamps. Coming up as 30 or so. Take that up to just under 100 milliamps. 95, 97, 116 milliamps right now, and pretty well spot on the EXTECH. And let's see here. 200 milliamps spot on, and isn't that interesting? We're sitting at around 150. So it kind of went down. Let's see, can we get a little bit higher, a little closer? 188 milliamps. Doesn't want us to get that close. 205, nope, coming back down. Isn't that weird? So for some interesting reason, I cannot go any higher than about 150 milliamp. Bring it back down, 180, and still showing up as around 130. 150, 139, and then we're back to normal. So for whatever reason, I cannot get above 150, 160 milliamps. Bizarre. I switched to the high input jack right now and maxed out on this little electronics tester at 1.25 amps, coming up as around 1.23 amps. And if we bring that back down, 629 milliamps, showing us as 600, 360-ish, 212. So definitely not the most accurate in the current ranges, but for whatever reason, I don't know why that milliamp was acting so weird. Last but not least, we're going to try some high voltage fun. That's right, I said fun. Let's put it into high volts mode. 600 volts DC is what we're looking at. And let's see if we can get there. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, put those safety goggles on. 930, 950, approaching 1000 volts DC. And bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. There we go, 1000 volts, and we're not getting any sort of alarm or high voltage indicator. That's too bad, but it did get there. Got a snap, crackle, pop. One more time, and yeah, there we go. Just under 1100 volts DC. So, it did it. It survived. Audible alarms, though, would have been nice. It's teardown time in the Cheapo Nation. That's right. Oh, it's even getting a little excited here. Stop moving. Okay, we're going to take this guy apart. Now we got 1, 2, 3, 4 tiny Phillips holding it together. And as well, that is screwed in. Well, let's undo those screws. You guys can have a look-see at the battery compartment. And there you can see we have our 9-volt battery housing, and surprise, surprise, look at that. We have access to the fuses. Good stuff, EXTECH. Now, my only concern about this is the fact that, hey, my fingers are not going to fit in that tiny little fuse well. You would definitely need something long and pointy to get those fuses out of there. Yeah, there we go. So standard screwdrivers should work. Definitely better than having to take off the entire housing, and to put it back in, you're definitely going to want a pair of tweezers because, yeah, it can get a little bit convoluted. Come on. Alright, well, it's in there. It's doable. Just a little awkward. As well, we can't forget we've got 2 brass standoffs here. So no matter how many times you have to take apart that 9-volt housing, you're not going to strip any threads. Beauty. Alrighty, here we go. This should just come off. And yes, it does. And if we take a look at the back of the housing, we can see there's nothing here other than that cheap plastic. And of course, no shielding. All right, on the inside, first glance, wow, look at these through-hole components here. All these resistors standing at attention. Interesting. A 9-volt battery housing sticking out like that. And there is a trim pot. I believe that is for the voltage mode. And we have a couple more pots down there as well. So it does look like you have some calibration facilities here, which is, we see how inaccurate this meter is. It's probably a good thing. Starting off with the input jacks at the bottom, look at that. They are in there really nicely, and we have some sort of reverse threading going on here with those input jacks. Very nice. I like what I see. A little too close for comfort to me, though. I don't like the fact that that fuse is right on top of that, what is that? The volt input. Yeah, a little bit more clearance definitely would have been appreciated. I did verify the fuses are both tiny ceramics, but they are within their ratings, the 200 milliamp and the 10 amp on the high current side. Look at that funky high current shunt. It is nice and thick, and I guess that is definitely going to do the job. I like it. Funny enough, there's a lot of horror stories about some of these EXTECHs. When you open up the inside, it can be a real mess. Well, this one, gladly enough, doesn't look that bad. Now, we do have some tiny little PTC here on the voltage side, only one to speak of, but at the top, if you take a look, we've got not 1, 2, but 3 metal oxide varistors for our input protection. Good stuff. At the top, we have our venerable LM358 dual op amp. The main IC itself is cobbed. If we look at a fab date, it looks like August 2017, so a couple years old, but nothing insanely out of date. Couple more surface-mounted electrolyte caps at the top, and here is our piezo transducer. But that's it. That's all, folks. No NCV, nothing fancy schmancy, no flashlights, no LEDs, none of the above. Remember, this is a no-frills cheapo. Taking a look on the side, we have some blast protection here with those high encased ridges. That's a good thing. Overall, fit and finish-wise, it's not bad. I'm not a big fan of having these 9-volt wires coming right out of the main PCB in the middle. But that being said, in terms of the overall cleanliness of the board, it is clean. No crazy residue, marks, what have you. It looks pretty good. Alrighty, going to put everything back together and come back with my closing thoughts on the MN15A mini multimeter, or so they like to think. Pass this one by. Definitely not worth that 35-40 dineros. No, you could do a lot better in the cheapo round. Just not an accurate multimeter. Yeah, we were able to play with that voltage pot and make things better, but at the end of the day, you really shouldn't have to, especially with a brand new meter. And if you're a new user, do you really want to pull it apart and mess around with the internals of a multimeter? Probably not. I have to say, I did like that continuity, scratchy, latchy, whatever. It was okay in my books. Yeah, probably the only good thing about this meter. Overall, totally lackluster. In fact, I think that word lackluster sums up this one really well. On the inside, it wasn't bad. I was expecting a mini horror story from some of the tales I've heard. In this case, it really wasn't that bad. Definitely okay for your low voltage types electronic work. That being said, once again, money-wise, you're just not getting any value here, and I gotta say, this thing feels uber cheap. And let's not forget that dismal performance in milliamp mode. What the heck was that anyway? Ugh, terrible. The MN15A gets a lonely 2 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching this review, everybody. Hey, 2020, there's gonna be so many awesome multimeter reviews coming your way. Stay tuned. Till the next time, keep on testing. Gonna try a little bit of that voltage calibration, just for the heck of it. Let's see how easy it is. Sitting at 240 millivolts right now. Now this has been heating up for about 15 minutes, so it should be good to go. Now there's that main. Let's see, around 250. Let's. 249, 250. Okay, that is better. Let's try the regular voltage. Alrighty, so after that calibration, we're just off ever so slightly. Definitely better than it was. So yeah, you do have some capabilities here in terms of the calibration itself. Really, you shouldn't have to do this, not on a brand new multimeter especially, but at least you can.